Are you a businesswoman who is finding it challenging to get your ideas across and make a point? Welcome to Speakers Who Get Results with Elizabetch Bachman, a podcast dedicated to helping women get the visibility they want, whether making a speech or talking in a meeting. Every week, get valuable lessons from Elizabeth or learn from her roundtable conversations with experts and speakers on how to make a difference, not just a point. On to the show with your host, Elizabetch Bachman.
Hello and welcome to Speakers Who Get Results. I'm Elizabetch Bachman, your host, and I'm delighted to have you here. I'm really excited because today we have my dear friend Juliet Clark as our guest. Speakers Who Get Results is a podcast about how we can hone and practice our presentation skills in order to get our listeners to do what we want them to do. Whether you're speaking on a stage in front of many people or in a meeting or just convincing one important person, there are hundreds and hundreds of tools you can use to craft your presentation to get the results that you want. Before we begin, I'd like to invite you to go to speakforresultsquiz.com. Go to my free assessment, speakforresultsquiz.com, and take about 5 minutes to see where your presentation skills are strong and where maybe you'd like to have a little support. And now to the juicy part, yay, hooray. I'm so excited to have Juliet Clark here. Juliet Clark is a dynamic and sought-after speaker and podcaster who has spent the last 20 years helping authors, coaches, speakers, and small businesses all over the world build expert platforms. Corporate companies, startups, and author and speaker incubators worldwide have benefited from Juliet's unique and massively effective method of mastering lead generation and lead qualification to get expert status. Juliet's a veteran of traditional publishing and corporate advertising. And when she wrote her first book, she thought she'd have no problem self-publishing. I see you laugh over there. Yes. What she encountered was a system that didn't benefit business owners who are writing and publishing expert books. No one in the self-publishing industry was helping new business authors understand how to build a platform that created sales for their books, products, and services. Most authors consider a book to be the magic bullet that they were looking for to generate more revenue. What they didn't understand is the problem of not selling products and services was not a book issue, it was a lack of a platform. So Juliet has created a platform building tool that assesses audience obstacles, generates leads, and qualifies leads for businesses. This simple technology can be used on social media, from the stage, and at workshops to build email lists and create conversations that build long-term relationships with potential clients. For authors, this means that they sell more products and services before the book is published. Promote, profit, publish. In 2018, Juliet launched her popular podcast, Promote, Profit, Publish, to help business owners create platforms and keep up with the latest marketing techniques. And Juliet, welcome to Speakers Who Get Results.
Thank you. You know, it's always so impressive when someone reads my bio. It's like, really?
Yeah.
I mean, in front of me.
Yes, exactly. Well, you know, it's one of the things about bios. When you're listening to it, one of the things that I've often done is people say, wow, you know, they read this very impressive bio and then come on up and then show people that you're just human. Mm-hmm. So, and then at one point I came up and I said, well, I'm not that special. And my coach at the time was in the audience. She said, never say that. But what I do say is, you know, thank you so much for reading the bio. And I'm really only here because I've made all the mistakes myself.
Right.
So my intention is to help you maybe not make some of the same ones. So it's a nice way of thinking of balancing the bio. It means you can brag as much as you want, as much as you can, and then balance it.
There you go. That's great.
Yeah. So Juliet, before we launch into content, because I know I could quiz you about content for the next 5 hours, and we really only have about 30, 40 minutes. But I'd like to ask, I'm always interested in where people start their journey. So if you were to interview somebody famous who's not around anymore, or at least not in the public eye anymore, but who made a difference in your life, an impression on you, who would it be?
Okay, you're all gonna laugh because now he does defib commercials on TV, but Mark Spitz.
Mark Spitz.
Yes.
Okay, so for our listeners who did not grow up around Mark Spitz, who is he?
So I don't actually know him, but he won more gold medals, I think, in the 1972 or 76 Olympics than anyone had prior to that. He's a swimmer. And
Okay.
I come from a family of swimmers. So, it was really awesome. I don't think people really acknowledged the swimming world as much before that. And just a funny thing, after that Olympics, we all of the teams went out and they got that suit that the Olympic team was wearing that year with the red, white, and blue, and it had white stars. And what people don't know about team swimming suits is that any place there's white, it's the suntan comes through. So basically we spent the summer running around, if we were running around in our underwear or something, we had stars all over our bodies from the So
well, it's better than some other things.
It is better than some other things. But one of the reason that I'd love to talk to him, one of the things swimming taught me growing up is that anything you want to be good at, you have to practice. We had to get in that water every single day. And I was lucky enough that my little sister was a very good swimmer too, probably better than I was. So a lot of competition in our household for medals and things like that. And so I learned a lot for that. I learned to be competitive. I learned to work hard. I'm not afraid of hard work. And I learned what it takes to win, and I learned what it takes to lose. So I learned a little bit of both. And just a little touching that I didn't share with you before was I was so touched when my parents passed away. I had to clean out the house, and I found a box, this huge box. My parents had saved every medal and every ribbon that my sister ever won, trophies, everything.
Wow.
So that was really a touching moment too, because, when you're an athlete like that, it's not just about you. There are parents standing behind you, driving cars full of kids places and all that. So that was really validation about that was a family thing, and that my parents were very proud of us.
That's wonderful. So Juliet, to be transparent, I have to tell everybody that Juliet has been my coach for about a year. And I particularly like it because she says she's the no BS marketing person. And I can BS, and I often need to be pushed into doing the right thing. So I'm really glad to have Juliet, who's behind me and gives a swift kick where it's needed when I need it, because I need that kind of coach. But I have learned so much from you, Juliet, and I'm really excited to be continuing to work with you. Tell me about this. You have this lead generation tool. What is it?
So it's assessment marketing, and actually the software that we use belongs to someone else who developed it. But coming from, I worked in advertising for many years. I was at Chiat Day on the Nissan account, and then I went over to Mattel. So the one thing that I saw when I was using that software was that there's a big gap in the entrepreneurial world, especially the small business, where we build our avatars, where we do consumer research. We don't have access to a lot of the tools that big companies do to build these things. And if you've ever been behind a car ad, somebody like Nissan, they know the demographic, they know what region, they know what sells, they know everything about their avatar for every single product. So the assessment marketing, when I saw it, was a way to have your audience self-identify where they are in the process and give you a lot of information that helps you hone in as the business owner on your avatar. So, and it does a couple things. So first of all, when we work with authors, coaches, speakers, and small businesses, who we have a lot of enterprise people coming in now too, the first thing we do is sit down and define the success principles of what you do. Because so many of what people teach out there revolves around what are the pain points and what are the benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And people are a little exhausted by that. Yes, we have to be emotional and hit those pain points, but people want results now.
Yeah.
So when you sit down and define the success principles of what you do, so for you, a speaking coach, what does it look like when you're out there being a successful speaker?
Yeah.
What does your presentation look like? What is your body language? What is your, all of those things.
And are you getting results?
Yeah. And are you getting results?
My whole thing is that the strategic speaking to get results. Are you actually getting the results you need when you're doing that?
Yes. So the reason we set those success parameters was because originally my publishing company had people bringing us books and they knew nothing about a platform. And when we told them they needed to build them, some of them actually got angry. Like, I wrote the book. What do you want from me? Yeah. People are just going to buy it. So the other thing we saw was someone would come and say, well, I read a book last year and they said to do it this way. And yeah, and marketing evolves almost every 9 months now. So if you're reading an old book, you're probably getting old information. So
let me pause you here for just a minute to, again, for people for whom these terms are new. What do you mean by a platform? And what do you mean by assessment marketing? Lots of S's in there.
Yes, there are. We could do like Mississippi backwards. Yes. No. So a platform is your audience building tool. It's your message. It's everything that you do that gets you out into the world. And at the same time, it's the audience and the following that you build. One of the things with book people is they think, I'm going to write the book and the people will come. Yeah. Sort of like Kevin Costner, only it only works for Kevin Costner in Field of Dreams.
Yes, right. It was a script. Somebody actually wrote the script to come out the way you wanted to come out. Yes.
It was fantasy and he was cute, so we all went along with it. So, and then the assessment marketing piece is you're actually going out and getting information, consumer information from your audience. Now, what's different from this than let's say a survey is that you're allowing these people to self-assess their own skill set. So when they get to the commitment section, which we'll talk about in a minute, they've already seen what it's going to take for them to be successful at what it is they want to do.
Can you describe that a little bit more? So you have a wonderful thing called Lead Logic Quiz.
Yes.
And what does that feel like? So I'm assuming that there are people who are a lot of people are going to be listening to this when they're driving or moving around. So they're not near a computer. They can't go check it out.
Right.
So paint us a little picture about what that is.
So it's broken down into categories. And so I took lead generation and qualification, and we broke it down into categories. And then we put statements in there about I talk to 3 to 5 people a week that are, close, things like that, where what would be, if you had a sales goal of, let's say you're a coach who has a program that sells for $5,000 and your income goal for the month is $25,000. Are you closing? Well, ask like that. I am closing 5+ deals a month. And, they're going to take a sliding scale of 0 means I haven't done this yet. 10 is success. And if they consistently have in front of them that, oh, look, I'm not hitting that. Oh, look, I'm not hitting that. With the books, I have a social media following of 1,000 or more people. If they've got a 2 or 3, they're not hitting that. So we're defining for them what success looks like, and then they're determining where they're at on their path to success. When we did that, we did it much like the book world. So when you write a book, you don't tell people what the story looks like. You show people what the story looks like. That's probably one of the hardest concepts that writers have to grasp. So you paint a picture of it. You just don't tell somebody, this is, the guy was 5'6" and, had brown hair and blue eyes and blah, 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 blah.
That's like getting up on stage and saying, so today I'm going to tell you a story about how a client of mine was having a hard time and how what I did that fixed it. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Just tell the story. Don't say I'm going to tell you a story. Just tell the story.
Yeah. And especially with something like this, because in essence, you're showing them that they're not doing it correctly. So I love to use this analogy. Many years ago, I used to play golf with my ex-husband. And, if I wasn't taking a shot right, he would do that thing that mansplaining does. And I'm not down on men, but, he would get behind me and he'd, hold the, try it this way, honey. And, nobody likes to be told they're doing something wrong. So my first, inside my head was, yeah, I'm going to hit you over the head with this club. Stop it. I'm trying to enjoy this. But, what if he had approached it and said, hey, Juliet, I was out with the pro the other day and he showed me this really cool trick. Have you tried this? Then I'd be like, oh, there's a cool trick. Yeah, show me. I want to try it. So it's just kind of the difference between setting the success principle and allowing them to assess, and me telling you, this is what it looks like and you're not doing it.
Yeah. So basically, when you go through there, you can see, okay, I'm really good at this. I'm really good at this. Ooh, I'm really bad at this. I'm only rating myself as a 2, and I'm a 2 out of 10, and I'm a 2 out of 10. Oh, I really need help here. That actually, for me, would put me right into the pain points that you talk about. And yes, you do have to wake people up to the pain, but that would have me look at it and say, oh, I need help with this one. Yeah.
So that is what it is designed to do. And what sets it apart from everything else out there is there's a commitment section that runs on algorithms and AI. And we ask some tough questions about, are you willing to solve the problem? Are you willing to invest to solve the problem? And, would you set that appointment? We're trying to take people away from just giving things away and expecting people to buy from them into, let's serve you first. And
you're talking about coaches giving things away as opposed to prospective clients giving things away.
Yes.
So you're actually giving the client something valuable, which I suppose a free book is value, but who has time to read a free book anymore?
I know. And remember the old ebooks people gave away were like novels, like 300 pages. They didn't get read. And we actually, this is kind of interesting. We used to do, after our webinars, we used to do a, do you hate me email. And for those of you who've done this before, there's a lead magnet and it's, I'm going to exchange my genius for this gift for your email address. And then I'm going to move you into a webinar. And then I'm going to move you here. And at the end, with the do you hate me email, we used to get answers back like, yeah, I'm not buying anything. I go from webinar to webinar and I'm just going to figure it out on my own. So it kind of lets you know that, there were a lot of people out there that weren't going to buy. So that's where the commitment section is really helpful, because there's an autoresponder that, based on those answers and some of the answers in the quiz, will tell you who is high commitment that, you want to talk to, who's a hot lead, who needs nurturing, and who is that drive-by looky-loo that you send the "do you hate me" email to that tells you they're never going to buy anything from you. They don't have any
Uh-huh.
money.
Yeah.
So,
and I will have to say this has been the best lead generation tool that I've been using over the last year. I have 3 or 4 groups of people that I talk to. And just yesterday, I got a whole bunch of assessment results from people who took my quiz from a webinar I gave a year ago, I think. And,
wow.
and somebody who was in the group that I gave it for shared it with their team. And I, I had no idea this would happen, but I turned on the computer in the morning and, oh, here were these 7 people from a company in South Carolina, which is an offshoot of a multinational company. Thank you very much. It's like, okay. So I am now nurturing them to get them to sign up for their free 30-minute discussion of the assessment. So perfect that this happened the day before I'm recording this interview with you, Juliet, because we learned about it from you. So thank you.
That is great. We just had Merrill Chandler from Credit Sense used it at his workshop this weekend, and great results. He had 85% of the people take it, and another 75% of those were high commitment. So his team is now working through the leads from the workshop. So
yeah,
works.
well, let me ask, this actually leads me to my next question, which is, how can you use it if you're a speaker? Because this is the Speakers Who Get Results podcast. So why is this so useful if you're speaking? And I'm talking about speaking to promote your services at this point.
So a couple reasons. First of all, you get an idea. First of all, you capture most of the emails, phone numbers, and names from the audience. And you get a lot of information from them about where they're at. We actually have people take out their phone. We work it into the talks. They can take out their phone. It's meant to be a 2 to 3 minute experience that you can have a few slides to go through while the audience takes the quiz in real time. So that's one of the ways that it's really beneficial. It's beneficial in the way that you just mentioned. You did a speaking gig for a webinar and somebody put it on replay and you got leads in the door. Podcasting and radio, you're speaking. And the thing is that iTunes or the radio station owns those stats. So you don't ever get any stats other than I had 1,000 downloads. So now you have an avenue to start connecting with those people in there. We are actually using this on an enterprise level for bigger people, bigger coaches and speakers as well. And those that have teams are actually using it in real time at the back of the room, divvying up who's high commitment and their closer is sent off. Their best closer sent off to close that. The nurture, their warm fuzzy closer, is off to work with those nurture people. And then, they're pushing the committal people out the door with books and CDs and, small programs. So smaller sales. So they're actually truly spending their time where they need to spend their time now instead of trying to get the whole room.
Yes. That's really great. That's really great. And I highly recommend looking this up. If you speak to promote your services, or if you have any way of, you need to get individuals in to be your clients, I can highly recommend this. It's been the best lead generation that I got. And I'm a slow decider, so I actually followed another coach who told me about her, and then I heard about you for a while, so I checked you out, and it really does work. Because my other coach who said, yeah, that's the thing that's converting. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more. We talked briefly about this, about what started. The market is changing. So we're now at the end of 2019 as we record this. And you're right now talking about what's working and what isn't. And let's pay attention to nowadays, what's happening now.
So happening now. So webinars are done. Well, we obviously see that in the marketplace. People are exhausted sitting down for an hour and a half, 2 hours of learning, and then a sales pitch.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of that exhaustion comes from so many of them, number one. And number two, so many people not getting the results they said. They're not,
Mhm.
they're not stepping up into those results. So that's not working. What we are seeing working is the small shows. The consistent podcasting is working great for a lot of people. Consistent shows on Facebook where you're in front of your tribe and other tribes, and mass streaming where you're actually part of a program right now where in Launch Like a Pro, where we're teaching them how to mass stream and repurpose, which is every platform has a different way of that their consumers use the content. So teaching you guys what are those optimal ways and how to take those things you're doing and reproduce them. So getting that following and, bringing them in with the quiz, pre-qualifying and starting conversations. People are tired of clicks. They want to talk to real people again. And thank
Yeah.
God for that.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole, hey, I'm doing this, and this, and I'm making $1 bazillion. And if you sign up with me, you're going to make $1 bazillion too. And it's only going to take you 6 weeks. Just pay me $1 billion, pay me to do this.
Yeah.
And that not working.
So,
my beloved falls for those a lot because that kind of energy appeals, and not to me. It just, that was the sort of thing that makes me want to turn around and run the other way. So
I love there. I have a guy who does this to me on Facebook all the time. 6 figures in 3 months. And every single time I ask him, hey, so can I talk to some of the people who got great results in your last round? And then he disappears.
uh-huh.
And then he comes back a couple months later. So are you ready to do that 6 figures in 3 months? And I'm like, can I talk to those happy people who got to 6 figures in 3 months? And he disappears again. So
Well, yeah. And you've also got the advertisers who are the people talking about Google ads and so forth, and we're going to get you 10,000 clicks, etc., which is also, I gather, not working anymore.
So that is cold traffic, and cold traffic, you should have zero expectation that you're going to convert. And if your marketing person saying, well, you got 10,000 clicks, it's working, but you got no sales, then I dare you to call up Lexus and say, hey, so I got no money this month, but I got 10,000 clicks. Can I make my car payment with clicks? I think you'll get a really quick reality check, because I don't think Lexus is going to take your clicks to pay your bills.
Yeah, exactly. So, Juliet, this is amazing. So you have, is it still worth it to write a book?
Such a loaded question.
Because you are a publisher. So
I am a publisher, but to be honest, we do not publish as many books as we used to. Our goal is to work with people who are selling products that the book is a true how to elevate, fill your workshops type of book. So you're already platform building, or you've already built a following, because our goal now is not the Amazon bestseller. Amazon bestseller means nothing. Too many people have cheated their way to the top of the bestseller list with 3 book sales. Believe me, there are ways to cheat. Everybody does it. Nobody cares about an Amazon bestseller anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Our goal is to truly work with those people who have built a platform and have lists to leverage that can get up to a Wall Street Journal or a USA Today. And that takes a lot of sales.
Wall Street Journal and USA Today, what?
Bestseller lists.
Thank you. Okay.
So credible bestseller lists. So that is truly our goal, is people who have strong businesses who can leverage their list and leverage partner lists to get up to those numbers they need. And the numbers are pretty significant. You have to sell a lot of books in a week.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, that's yeah, exactly. It's just one of those great things. I just actually returned to the publisher the first book that I did, because I bought 20 boxes of books. And And when I just started, which was, over 10 years ago now. And that was really what I started with, was a chapter in a multi-author book. And I bought 20 boxes of books because I was going to give them away and I was going to sell them and whatever. I had 18 boxes of books left over. We just emptied a storage unit, and they're in the back, covered with dust, for 18 boxes of books, which then I took back to the publisher in the hope that some of the other authors could use it. Because in the meantime, my business has evolved and changed and doing things. And I didn't have that storage unit anymore. So I didn't have the free place to keep it.
Yeah. Print on demand.
Print on demand. 10 years ago, that was not a thing, print on demand. So exactly. Juliet, this is really fun and exciting. And I'm thrilled to be talking with you. How can we learn more? Do you have any sort of words of wisdom to leave us with?
I have to share. Last time somebody asked me to give words of wisdom to an audience, I told them not to quit their day job, and I got in trouble. So I don't know if I have words of wisdom. Get out. If you really want to do this well, be patient, be persistent. This is not an overnight success thing. I don't care what those other coaches are telling you. This is not 6 figures in 6 months. There's a lot of persistence behind this.
By this you mean having a profitable coaching business that actually pays your mortgage and your car payment, right?
Yes. This is what you're looking for is a sustainable business, not being a face and influencer. You'd be surprised how many of those influencers aren't making money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, that is definitely what I would recommend.
That's great. And how can we find out more?
You can go over and test one of the quizzes. Go over to www.leadlogicquiz.com, or you can find me over at superbrandpublishing.com. You can contact me at juliet@superbrandpublishing.com.
Great. Juliet Clark, it's been such a delight to talk with you, and I've so enjoyed knowing you and so happy to feature you on my podcast. So thank you so very much. This is Elizabeth Bachman. This has been Speakers Who Get Results, and you can take Juliet's quiz and you can take my quiz, which is the speakforresultsquiz.com. And I'm delighted to have you with us. I'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.
We have just concluded another great episode of Speakers Who Get Results with your host, Elizabeth Bachman. If you got value from today's episode, please feel free to share us with your friends and colleagues. You may also visit elizabethbachman.com for additional resources. Be sure to tune in every week for new episodes, and thanks for tuning in.